Hi guys! Today we're going to be talking about the 24 books I would like to read in 2024. And just so you're aware, it cuts off at least 4 books underneath that. So yeah, let's slowly unpack this because this will fall back if I let go of it. Do you want to be on camera? Or something? Wait. Thank you. So there is going to be another book added to this, but I'm going to include that in the series that I would like to read or finish next year. Because it's a series book, so I unfortunately could not include it on this because that would be included on the other. So the first one is actually one I wanted to read by the end of this year. There is another one, but it is like down here, so I am not going to try and pry it out. But I already know I'm not going to be able to finish this by the end of 2023. So this is one of the few books I would like to finish or read in 2024. It technically is part of a series, but they're all standalone, so it doesn't really matter to me. This is Straight On to Morning by Liz Bradswell. So this is a retelling of the Peter Pan, and essentially the what if question is, what if Wendy went to Neverland with Captain Hook? I like Peter Pan retellings, especially if they're dark, so I'm hoping this is going to be slightly darker than, you know, what the movie was. But we shall see. Next I have 6 Crimson Cranes. This is by Elizabeth Lim. I can't remember if I've read any of the books by her, but this is one of the few that I've been seeing around. I think the other one... God, what was the title name of it? Is it... Yeah, it was Spin the Dawn, and... okay, this one's actually part of a series. I did not realise that. Whoops. The second one of this is apparently The Dragon's Promise. I did not know that. But I only have this one, so I'm going to include it on this because I've been wanting to read it for a while before it even became a series. So essentially, A Princess in Exile, 6 Enchanted Cranes, and An Unspeakable Curse. I've seen loads of people talk about this, and for some reason whenever I hear that little bit, it just kind of reminds me of the fairy tale that involves the 7 swans, and how a princess tries to save her brothers who have all been turned into swans, and stuff like that. And this one kind of like follows a similar thing, but we shall see if it compares to that fairy tale. Next we have Boy Queen by George Lester. So this follows a boy called Robin, who apparently had it all figured out. A future on Broadway, a top secret boyfriend, don't know why he's top secret, and a ride to die best friend. Sorry, 2 ride to die best friends. Then all of his worst nightmares come true. Now his life is a hot mess. With nothing left to lose, Robin falls wig first into a glittering, I hate English apparently. Robin falls wig first into the glittering embrace of drag and becomes face to face with the queen he's always meant to be. Robin's about to learn that sometimes your new self is your true self. I'm not going to say much more of that. I've had this one for a while, and I absolutely love that. It's a flimsy book. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't read this yet, but hopefully it's a book I'll get to next year. Okay. Now, funnily enough, I technically usually keep these 2 books together, because they are both, by 2 I mean this one and this one here. Because they are both Grease sort of retellings and they're both gay retellings. So this one, Ollie falls for Will over the holidays, But once summer's ended, Will stops texting him back. Enrolled at a new school, Will's school to be precise, Ollie finds that the affectionate and comfortably queer guy he knew from summer isn't the same one attending Collinswood High. This version of Will is the class clown, a basketball jock, and, well, a bit of a jerk. The last time Ollie gave Will his heart, Will handed it back to him, trampled and battered. Ali would be a fool to trust him with it again. Right? Apparently this is for fans of Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. So yeah. I don't know if I've read anything by Sophie Gonzalez yet. If I have, again, I've probably just not realised. Didn't come up with any books that I wouldn't recognise. Or any books with that matter. So we're going to move straight on. By the way, I am not including ebooks in this. Ebooks would be probably be a different 2024 video. So actually, I'm going to change it. This isn't the 2024 books I want to read in 2024. This is the 2024 physical books I want to read in 2024, because I've also got a whole bunch of ebooks that I want to read as well. So next up we've got Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I've not read much of her books actually, and this would be my second book reading because I didn't really enjoy Beach Read that much. So I have yet to actually try any more of her books. This one I got as, I think it was a birthday or it was a Christmas present. So I've had it about a year now, so it's about time I actually read it. Here's hoping. But I do still plan to maybe read some more of her books, hopefully in the new year as well. This is another book I've had on my TBR for more than a year, just never picked it up for some stupid reason. So this is Felix Ever After by Kiersten Kolenda. This is why I don't say names. I like this edition because it's got very pretty sprayed edges. So I kind of figure everyone knows what this one is about now, but just in case, Felix's love has never been in love, and yes, he's painfully aware of the irony. I can imagine why. He desperately wants to know what it's like, and why it seems so easy for everyone but him to find someone. What's worse is that even though he is proud of his identity, Felix also secretly fears that he's one marginalization too many. Forgive me if I said that word wrong. Black, queer and transgender. So basically those are his marginalizations, that's what it is. To ever get his own happily ever after. When an anonymous student begins sending him transphobic messages after publicly posting Felix's dead name alongside images of him before he transitioned, Felix must come up with a plan for revenge. What he didn't count on, his catfish scenario landed him in a squash love triangle. But as he navigates his complicated feelings, Felix begins a journey of questioning and self-discovery that helps redefine his most important relationship, how he feels about himself. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. Okay, so this one actually only came out this year, so it's not been on my TBR for long, but to be honest, I'm probably going to be reading it during the spooky season or for a... maybe for Summerween readathon. I don't know. Because I really do like those readathons because I like spooky season, and I'm so glad that there's that readathon to use that for. So essentially, Sal hates standing out, but he lives in a haunted house, and everyone knows it. His older friend Derek tries to help, but he wants to stay popular, and Sal isn't helping. Elise was popular until recently. Now she's on the outcast table too, and she doesn't want to talk about it. So. And then there's the new boy, Pax, who won't leave cell alone. His idea of a good time is hanging out in graveyards. I mean, never hanged out in a graveyard, but I'm not going to judge. And for some reason, Cell can't stay away. Meet the other ones. Can they banish their ghosts together? Apparently, if you were to describe this book in 3 words, it'll be queer, friendship, and mystery. Sounds like my kind of book. We have another spooky book here, which again I will probably either be reading, hopefully in like darker months, or we'll wait for the readathon or spooky season to come around. And this is actually by an author I have read quite a few books by. So this is Christina Hemry, and this is a retelling of Sleepy Hollow. I've read quite a few of her books. I've read the Alice duology, well, technically it's a duology and a series of short stories. I've read Peter Pan, I've read, it weren't Pan, but I've read basically all the other retellings she's done. The only ones I haven't read is The Ghost Tree and Near the Bone, which everyone is telling me to check out, so maybe I will. Yeah, the tagline is like, everyone in Sleepy Hollow knows about the Horseman. And Horseman is actually the name of the book, if you could read it. So essentially, everyone in Sleepy Hollow knows about the Horseman, but no one really believes in him. Not even when Ben van Brunt's grandfather, Brom Bones, who was there when it was said the Horseman chased the upstart Crane out of town. Brom says it's all just a legend. The village gossips talking. More than 30 years after those storied events, the village is quiet. Let's restart that sentence. More than 30 years after those storied events, the village is a quiet place. 14-year-old Ben loves to play Sleepy Hollow Boys, reenacting the events Brom once lived through. But then, Ben and his friends stumble onto across the headless body of a child in the woods near the village, and the discovery makes Ben question everything the adults in Sleepy Hollow have ever said. Could the Horseman be real after all, or does something even more sinister stalk the woods? Ooh, that sounds good. I still don't know why I didn't pick this up when I bought it though, because I was so looking forward to reading it. I think I even read like Sleepy Hollow in preparation of actually reading it, because I never actually read the story of Sleepy Hollow. This is another book that's been on my radar for a while. I got recommended it thanks to BookTube. This is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. Or Atwater, I think is actually how you say her name. All I know this has fae in it. As in fairy or fairy, whatever you want to pronounce it as. Ever since she was cursed by a fairy, Theodora Ettins has had no sense of fear or embarrassment, a condition which makes her prone to accidental scandal. Dora hopes to be a quiet, sensible wallflower during the London season. But after the strange, handsome, and utterly uncouth Lord Sosuke discovers her condition, she is instead drawn into dangerous and peculiar fairy affairs. If Dora's reputation can survive both her curse and her sudden connection with the least liked man in all of high society, then she may yet reclaim her normal place in the world. But the longer Dora spends with Eliza Wilder, the more she begins to suspect that one may indeed fall in love with only half a soul. He's hoping. Okay, so moving on. We've got The Looking Glass House by Vanessa Thwaite. I actually got this when I went to go and see the Alice in Wonderland show at the V&A. I think it was just called Wonderland or something. I went because I am a big fan of the what was it? Who the hell did the I completely forgot who actually did the movie. Oh god. We'll get back to that because I really cannot remember off the top of my head. So essentially I was a really big fan of the movies of Alice in Wonderland and also the Looking Glass. And I do also like retellings of Wonderland, which is quite weird because I never actually read the book as a kid. Like, I remember like reading it as an adult, and just for some reason I didn't actually enjoy it. Maybe I read like the kiddish dumbed down version of it. I cannot remember, but I'm hoping if I read more retellings, I might actually gain a bit more appreciation for the books. So essentially this one takes place in Oxford, 1862. Poor plain Mary Prickett takes up her post as governess to the daughters of the Dean of Christ Church. When Mary meets Charles Dodgson, a friend of the family, she is flattered by his intentions and becomes convinced his plans to propose marriage. But it is also clear that he is drawn to the little girls in Mary's care. And on a boating trip one sunny day, Mr. Dodgson tells the story of Alice's adventures in Wonderland, a curious tale about the I hate that word. Basically about Alice Little. As Mary waits for her life to change, she becomes increasingly suspicious of Alice's friendship with Dr. Dodgson. Before long, everything Mary believes is turned topsy-turvy, and her determination to get to the truth will have lasting consequences for all involved. So I don't know if this is physically going to include Alice, but I'm hoping there is going to be at least some elements towards Wonderland, because I haven't heard many people talk about this one, so we'll see. We've got two short ones here. So we've got The Cat Who Saved Books by Suzuki Natsukawa. Something like that. I've had this one for at least maybe a year now, and I actually got the She and Her Cat because of this one, which was weird. Well, I didn't get She and a Cat, I borrowed She and a Cat. So Natsukawa Books was a tiny second-hand bookshop on the edge of town. I really read these like they Natsukawa Books was a tiny second-hand bookshop on the edge of town. Inside, towering shelves reached the ceiling, everyone cramped full of wonderful books. Rinchio Natsuki loved this place that his grandfather created. He spent many happy hours here, reading whatever he liked. It was the perfect it was the perfect refuge for a boy who tended to be something of a recluse. After the death of his grandfather, when Chiro is devastated and alone, it seems he will have to close the shop. Then a talking cabby cat called Tiger appears and asks Rinchio for help. The cat needs a book lover to join him on a mission. This odd couple will go on 3 magical adventures to save books from people who have imprisoned, mistreated, and betrayed them. Finally, there is one last rescue that Rinchio must attempt alone. So, if it wasn't clear, the cat needs help saving books. I mean, I happily try and save books. Next we have Hyde by Kristen White. I do have one other book by her, and I have read, I think one series by her. I can't remember what the series was. It was quite a while ago. That was it. I read the series that includes Paranormalcy, Supernaturally, and Endlessly. And there are a few other books I've been wanting to read by her. This is just one of the newest ones. It's also one of the shorter ones I think she's come out with. Well, in my experience anyway. And Again, it's spooky again, and even though I've not heard that many people enjoy this one, I'm hoping at the very least I will. I mean, it involves, the challenge is literally to spend a week hiding in the band music park and don't get caught. I'm pretty sure it is not as easy as it sounds. Okay, so this one's actually a bit of a backlist, because I've had this on my Goodreads TBR for a good while now. I've had it even on my TBR before I even started Goodreads. So this is Eliza and Her Monsters. I've been gracious enough to find a hardback cover of this. It's just plain, grayish. There's no like inside art or anything. But I've heard so many good things about this book over the course of the years. So this is what this one's about. In the real world, Eliza Merck is shy, weird, and friendless. Online, she's Lady Constellation, the anonymous creator of the widely popular webcomic Monstrous Sea. Eliza can't imagine enjoying the real world as much as she loves the online one, and has no desire to try. Then, Wallace Warland, Monstrous Sea's biggest fanfiction writer, transfers to her school. Wallace thinks Eliza is just another fan, and as he draws her out of her shell, she begins to wonder if life offline might be worthwhile. But when Eliza's secret is accidentally shared with the world, everything she's built, her story, her relationship with Wallace, and even her sanity begins to fall apart. That sounds like it's going to be rough. And I know everyone said like you would get little bits or something of the story in it, so I'm looking forward to see how that plays out too. On to the second Grace retelling book I mentioned from earlier. I have actually read a few other books by this author. I've read Alice in Wonderland, and I've also read Heartbreak Boys, and I think I also hasn't done another book that I've read. I don't know. But yeah, this is another Grease retelling. The one that I want. So Freddie is unremarkable. Too unremarkable. In fact, his teachers and fellow students keep forgetting who he is. Jeez, that must be rough. Even his TV producer mom thinks he's a disappointment. Okay, now that's just being harsh. After embarrassing himself in front of Jasper Perry, the gorgeous teen star of his mom's new show, Freddie decides to try something different, saying yes to every opportunity. That's how Freddie ends up auditioning for the school musical, Grease, actually going to parties and flirting with the new hot boy, Zach. He's becoming a whole new Freddie, maybe even one that his mom might be proud of. But the path to love is never smooth, and sometimes you have to get things wrong in order to work out what and who you really want. Again, I still don't know why I haven't actually picked this up, because it's been a while since I've watched Grease, but I did remember at least enjoying it, especially the songs. Okay, so this was the other book I'm probably not going to be able to read by the end of 2023. This is called The Divided. It follows two girls, one named Amy, one Eliza, and basically they are unaware that they are linked. One is set in the past and the other one is set in modern day. So Eliza, she has tried to escape from the West Salter Asylum. This fails. And unfortunately, this basically ends up dragging her into two people's experiments, specifically demon worshippers. That's not going to sound good. Modern day Amy, however, needs a change in life. A reunion with her estranged sister Rachel at the Green Haven Hotel doesn't go as planned, and essentially a malevolent force resides in the building, and it has its sights set on Amy for some reason. When Rachel's husband's arrival winds the divide between the sisters, they realise that if they want to survive the haunting, they need to help each other. The only question is, will they survive? Well, I'm hoping they survive, because then that's going to be one down of the book. This is another book that is both short and has been quite popular recently. This is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kiersten. Now, I have read, what was it? I've read Cinderella is Dead, and I've also read This Poison Heart, and the second book in that duology, This Wicked Fate, that was it. And I noticed she's actually coming out with another book next year, so I was hoping to maybe try and get to both next year. But if you haven't heard the synopsis, essentially at Camp Mirror Lake, terror is the name of the game, but can you survive the night? Charity Curtis has the summer job of her dreams, playing the final girl at Camp Mirror Lake. Guests pay to be scared in this full-contact terror game. As Charity and her summer crew recreate scenes from the classic slasher film The Curse of Camp Mirror Lake. The more realistic the fear, the better for business. But on the last weekend of the season, Charity's co-workers begin disappearing. And when one ends up dead, Charity's role as the final girl suddenly becomes all too real. If Charity and her girlfriend, Maisie, hope to survive the night, they will need to figure out what the killer is after. But as they unravel the bloody history of the real Mirror Lake, Charity discovers that there may be more to the story than she ever expected. So this sounds really, really good to me. Okay, we are reaching the 30-minute mark. I kind of need to hurry up. I've got so many books to go. So this next one, actually, do I need to continue? I think I need to include this in the series one. What to do? Because this is technically the series. You know what? We'll cancel this one. Because, I'm sorry, it was part of the series. This is technically a second book in the duology, but I've read the first book. So this is Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This is another backlist book I've had. Witty, awkward and romantic is what it's described as. Millie Quant is devastated when she discovers that her sort of best friend, sort of girlfriend has been kissing someone else. Heartbroken and ready for a change of pace, Millie decides to apply for a scholarship to a boarding school in the rolling hills of Scotland. The only problem, Millie's roommate Flora is a total princess. She's also the actual princess of Scotland. At first the girls can't stand each other, but before Millie knows it, she has another sort of best friend, sort of girlfriend. Princess Flora could be a new chapter in her love life, but Millie knows the chances of happily ever after are slim. After all, real life isn't a fairy tale. Or is it? We shall see. Okay, on to the last little bit. So we've got, next I've got Your Welcome Universe by Witty Gardner. I've had this one for a good while now. And this has got some good representation in it, I'm hoping. When Julia finds a slur about her best friend scrawled across the wall on the Kingston School for the Deaf, she covers it up with a beautiful, I bet illegal, graffiti memorial in an attempt to protect her friend's reputation. But then Julia's supposed friend snitches, the principal expels her and her mum sends her to a mainstream school, where she's treated like an outcast as the only deaf student. Julia's only outlet is her art. She paints anywhere she can. But Julia soon learns that she might not be the only vandal in town. Someone is adding to her tags, making them better, showing off. Caught in the graffiti war, Julia must risk arrest to go toe-to-toe with her rival, or face losing the only piece of identity that still makes sense. Again, I still don't know why I haven't read this. Okay, so let's just skip to this one because this one is another backlist book. This one is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It's a big book. Again, I just don't know why. I never read this at all. I didn't gravitate towards it, but again, I've just seen like it come up on BookTube, and I've just been really intrigued. Especially given the fact apparently it's narrated by Deaf. So that sounds like it would be interesting to follow. I think they also said there was like pictures, but I could be wrong because this could be a different edition. Nope, there are pictures apparently. So we shall see. So this next one is Failure to Communicate by Kalia Sanderby. This one actually got recommended to me by someone on BookTube, and thank you for that, because it includes autistic representation. It is also sci-fi, and I like those two combinations. So as the autistic head of the Carpathia's Zendo Layson department, Zandria has become an expert in peaceful first contacts and convincing sapient species to join the Star System's alliance. The Animali, however, are as xenophobic as they come, and they are developing a powerful weapon that caught both the attention of the alliance and their bitter enemies. This time, Zandria's mission is fraught with politics, and the consequences of failure may well be genocide for the Animari. So, big risks. Again, I still am confused as to why I haven't picked this up yet, especially when I was so excited because it was autistic representation. Okay. So this next one is actually a borrow from my sister that I said I was going to read, but still haven't read. This has, I think it was, what was it? Asexual representation in this. I don't know if she's actually read this yet. She just said I could borrow it. I could be wrong, she could have actually read it. So Alice had her whole summer planned. Non-stop, all-you-could-eat buffets while marathoning her favourite TV shows, Best Friends totally included. With the smallest dash of adulting, working at the library to pay her share of the rent. The only thing missing from her perfect plan, her girlfriend who ended things when Alice confessed she's asexual. Alice is done with dating. No thank you. Do not go past go. Stick a fork in her. Done. But then Alice meets Tanuki, and she can't stop thinking about him or the rom-com grade romance feels she did not ask for. Uncertainty, butterflies, and swoons. Oh my. While her blissful summer has taken an unexpected turn, Tayukimi, I hate names, I really do, becomes her knight with a shiny library employee badge. Close enough. Alice has decided if she's willing to risk their friendship for a love that might not be reciprocated or understood. So apparently she is black, biromantic, and asexual. Again, I still don't know why I haven't picked this up. I remember seeing it, and I just, again, it was just like I decided, okay, this is going on my TBR. I don't know when I'll read it, but I will read it at some point. That was my thoughts when I first put it on my TBR. This one, again, I've had for a while, and during last year, I did try to put it on some TBRs for me to read it. Just never happened, and I'm angry at myself for it. So for some reason, the blur is like back here. So Hunter never expected to be in a boy band, let alone the kind who exploits get splashed across tabloid covers. Now his band, Kiss and Tell, is on the first major North American tour, and life in the limelight is harder and more complicated than Hunter could have imagined. He can handle dressing up in whatever the label tells him to wear, pretending to never have sex. And Hunter actually likes the chance to find community among the queer kids who come to the band's meet and greets. But when details from his personal life are leaked online, it spells trouble for Hunter's new relationship, for the perfect gay boy he plays for the cameras, and most importantly, for Hunter himself. I've not read anything else by this author, so I'm hoping maybe I can get through this quickly because I don't think all of it is like full-on chapters, but we shall see. And we're on to the final two books, and they're actually both hardback. This is the other Christian White book I have that I wanted to read. This is Star Wars Padawan. I just call it Padawan because I don't like saying Star Wars all the time. So this one follows the Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you can't tell by the cover. This one is actually a very light blue. I think it's like meant to be the colour of his lightsaber, I think. I do know Star Wars, don't worry. I'm not reading this and going into it with like knowing nothing. So no one said being a Padawan would be easy, but should it be this hard? Jedi Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi is newly apprenticed to his master Qui-Gon Jinn, and can't help wondering if their pairing was a mistake. Obi-Wan excels at lightsaber duels, but Qui-Gon wants to focus on meditation. While other Padawans join their masters on exciting off-planet missions, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan stay put on Coruscant. Then Obi-Wan discovers clues pointing to unfinished Jedi business on a mysterious planet and convinces Qui-Gon that they should investigate. But the morning they leave, Qui-Gon is nowhere to be found. Angry and hurt, Obi-Wan takes off alone, determined to fulfill the mission. On the planet Lenhardra, again, names, Obi-Wan encounters a group of young people who appeared to use the Force, and who also appeared to be the planet's only inhabitants. As he spends more time with them, and drifts further from his life at the Jedi Temple, Obi-Wan wrestles with his greatest fear. Maybe he was never meant to be a Jedi at all. Yet he can't escape the nagging sense that something on Lenhardra is just wrong. Can Obi-Wan rediscover his connections to the Force in time to save himself and everyone around him? Now, apparently, according to someone, it was essentially Star Wars meets Spring Break, and that kind of just makes it sound funny and not as serious as probably what it is going to be. And I'm going to try and go in this with not that description in mind. But yeah, I'm also, apparently according to other people, this also confirms Obi-Wan being bisexual, and when I heard that, I just went, yes, because everyone, if you've known the Star Wars, if you've been in the Star Wars community for a while, you know that everyone was just rooting for this guy to be bi or gay. I was rooting for bi because, like, we already know he had some form of romance with Satine. If you've watched the Clone Wars. So we have On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Dewey. And actually this was also recommended to me by the same person who recommended me for Here to Communicate, because it is another sci-fi that also has autistic representation in it. So essentially this one takes place in the year 2025, which is kind of scary because it's actually not that far away. But specifically, January 29th, 2035, sorry. That's the day the comet is scheduled to hit. The big one, apparently. So this is, one day, big one. We all go sing bye-bye. Denise and her mother and her sister Iris have been assigned to a temporary shelter near their hometown of Amsterdam to wait out the blast. But Iris is nowhere to be found, and at the rate Denise's addicted mother is going, they're never going to reach the shelter on time. Then a last-minute encounter leads them to something better than a temporary shelter. A generation ship that's scheduled to leave Earth behind and colonize new worlds after this comet hits. But each passenger must have a practical skill to contribute. Denise is autistic and fears that she will never be allowed to stay. Can she obtain a spot before the ship takes flight? What about her mother and sister? When the future of the human race is at stake, whose lives matter the most? So, this does kind of remind me specifically with the characters of the sister, the mom, and of the main character, her sister and her mom, with Angel Fall, which I'm currently reading at the moment. But the big difference is the fact that the threat is a comet that's coming to hit Earth, whereas in Angel Fall, the main threat from what I've got so far, is the angels who have come down from the heavens, as well as possibly humanity. No spoilers for that book. But this is also one of the more chunkier books. But the font is quite a relative size. It's not small, so I should be able to maybe get through this a little bit quicker because of that. I also got the blue. And the reason it's in the hardcover is because I liked the blue cover, and they only in paperback they only had the red, which I didn't really like. So I decided to, spend the money, get the hardback. That pretty much just concludes, my 24 physical books for 2024. There will be a ebook variation of this coming out. I may include audiobooks on that, but to be honest, I've got enough ebooks to count towards that. And then I think I'm also going to do a series. So that will that one will include, if I can find the book, that one is going to include The Faechild, because this is book 1 of the trilogy apparently. I also, there was one other book I was going to include on this, but it counts as a series. What one was it? Wasn't it? It was Gideon the Ninth. I was going to include Gideon the Ninth from this, but that's part of the series that I want to start. But I also want to try and focus on finishing certain series. Again, I will talk about this in a different video. Thank you so much for watching. I am so sorry this is a very long video. I will try to see if I can get it down to what it was from. But I hope to see you in my next video, and we'll see if this ends up being my final video for this channel before the new year. See you later, guys. Bye.